All right, fastest 15 minutes in social media, fastest 15 minutes on the internet. My name is Judson Powell. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the share button, the like button, any buttons that you can hit. Hit the buttons. Hit the love button. Love everybody. All right. Here is the thing, and I held off on this for a long time, so I didn't exactly want to do this right away, but I felt like it needed to be done. And it was the reason why I felt like it needed to be done right now is because in my dream life, and then I kept like somebody posted, one of my friends posted something about a dream that they had, and I was just thinking, because I write my dreams down, or especially if they're recurring, if they happen over and over and over again, so I write them down. Because I believe that your dreams speak volumes to you. They tell you a lot about what's going on in your life. And also, I believe that there are things that are happening in other, parallel universes and stuff like that. Okay, so now I want to preface this whole thing by saying, if you're not spiritual, you probably won't understand. And if you're trying to get spiritual, then you might want to listen, because it'll give you some insight. But if you're not spiritual, then you probably won't get it. Okay. Now, people, well, put it this way. Somebody posted something that said that there was basically no spiritual warfare and all this kind of stuff. And it caught my attention. It was a really, a person that I respect a whole lot. And so I was sitting up there and I was going, so there's no spiritual warfare. And then I started thinking about the whole coronavirus thing, and I started thinking about all of the, catastrophic events that have taken place like over the last few years. Okay. And so I remember when I first started getting into spirituality, it was like around the time, I guess it was like Katrina, like Hurricane Katrina, and then the whole, 9/11, Hurricane Katrina. Those are like the big events, the stuff that happened. And so then I was talking to this spiritual guide, and she told me, she was like, well, Katrina was a sacrifice to Papa Legba. And I was like, he's basically the reincarnated Anubis. Anubis is the god, or the netter. I don't want to use the word god, but he's the netter from Kemetic spirituality into the underworld. He can either put you into the underworld, or he can keep you out. And that's what somebody posted that, because, and what happened was, there was this girl, this white girl, and she tried to summon his spirit, right? And she died. It is a young white girl, no health issues, nothing, nothing wrong with her, nothing like that. She tried to, conjure up the spirit of Papa Legba. And y'all know who he is. Y'all seen him before, because he's like the people when they try to look like him. He has the face of a skull. He's always smoking a cigar, and he has on a top hat. Well, anyway, so when Katrina went down, she said that the United States government allowed all of the black people, because if you think about where the flooding and everything took place, and she was like, they sacrificed all of those black people, because they didn't try to rescue them. And basically, even if they were and some reports said that some of those people were still alive and they just let them drown. So I mean, and I'm not, I'm just so basically, it was like this was a human sacrifice, right? And so they were like, it was a spiritual warfare, human sacrifice. And so because they wanted to make sure that it was a thing where they would get power because of their sacrifice. All right, so now fast forward to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was the sacrifice for coronavirus. And I remember, you know, and I told people this, and I know, okay, and of course I'm told I'm crazy or I'm a conspiracy theorist or whatever. But right after Kobe Bryant died, I posted in my college's alumni group, and I was actually blocked from the alumni group because, and people, you know, I had people, you know, tripping, all right, because I told them that Kobe was a sacrifice, that he was a sacrifice for something bigger that was coming along, because and if you go into the scriptures, and I explain this too, that in the scriptures, Psalm 90 is the psalm for premature death. All right, and I always tell everybody, I'm like, look, the Bible is a book of spells, incantations, and rituals, and all of that. That with the King James Bible. And I tried to explain to them that, look, these spells and these rituals and these incantations and everything, they're real, you know. And why are they real? Because we're manifestors. Whatever you manifest is real. That's how come people who believe in Jesus, you know, and we be like saying to say, look, but Jesus is not your homeboy. Jesus is the deity created for the white man, and to keep the white man in power and in control. Listen, I'm not saying, whatever you believe in is real to you. but it doesn't mean that in the spiritual realm that he does what you expect him to do. All right, stay with me. Okay, so then the next thing that happened was, and I see this, the USA, and I've been talking about this, the USA Today newspaper, where they have the coronavirus and Kobe on the front of the same paper. It's not a coincidence, y'all. Things don't happen. And I remember the late Bobby Hemmett, you know, the master teacher, talking about how whenever there's going to be a ritual sacrifice, that there's always there's some way of checking it, or there's a warning or something like that. And so I was like, you know, this is like lining up too perfect. And then all the stuff with the helicopters and excuse me, with the helicopters and all of that stuff, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, hold up, you know, and just the precursors to everything that was going down, right? And now, even during the coronavirus, they just gave the Lakers money, stimulus money, and whatever. Why? It was a payoff. They were trying to pay off the fact that they took somebody from them that was going to make them more money. Because whether he was playing or not, Kobe was like one of the faces of that franchise, and he would make them money. You know, he could go out and he's Mr., you know, just like Magic Johnson, he's Mr. Laker, or what, you know. Then everybody's like, well, how come Magic Johnson ain't never catch the AIDS? He got HIV, but he never caught the AIDS, which is what Dr. Makowitz, Makowitz said. She explained why Magic Johnson never caught AIDS, why he had HIV, why he was a carrier, but he never caught HIV. All right. So Kobe was the sacrifice. And if y'all don't believe me, okay, that's why and then the second thing was what? What else happened? Think about it. Trump bombed or they had that little thing where they bombed Iran and killed some people. All right. But nothing jumped off. Everybody thought it was going to be a war, and nothing jumped off, right? Think about it. So they were making human sacrifice to the gods, to the netters. All right? And y'all don't believe that this stuff goes on, but it does, even at high levels. If you're old enough to remember, Ronald and Nancy Reagan had what? They had astrologers and spirit guides. Go back and look this stuff up. Almost George Bush and then what? And everybody is like Skull and Bones. What do you think Skull and Bones is? What do you think Skull and Bones is? I'm just asking you a question. All of these things, these are ritualistic, sacrificial groups. And then what do white people do that we don't do? They sacrifice human lives. During slavery, and I've talked about this like over and over, and I'm not telling you to go out and sacrifice. No, even I don't condone that, because you don't know what karma will bring on the other side in the universe. All right, you may, because remember, the caveat to this is that you're going to get something in this realm, but you don't know what you're going to end up getting in the next realm, or in a parallel universe. Stay with me. All right? Because you don't know what you're going to get. But all of these people that are at these higher levels, and they're Satanists, they're Luciferians. Okay? Not to say that there's actually a Satan or a Lucifer or anything like that, but Jesus and Lucifer are the same person. Remember what I talked to you about, the law of polarity, the fact that everything exists on the same scale. 0 degrees exist on the Fahrenheit scale, but so does 150 degrees exist on the Fahrenheit scale. You could be one or the other, but you're still on the same scale. That's a universal law. You are, and that's why I tell people all the time, you are good and evil. You are Lucifer and you are Christ. You are the same person. Or the old native proverb of what? You have two dogs living inside of you, one good and one evil, and which one wins out? They're fighting all the time, and which one wins out? The one that you feed the most, the one that you nurture to manifest the most, right? It's almost like, and even like you used to watch the cartoons or watch little sitcoms or whatever. The devil sitting on one shoulder, and the angel or God or whoever is sitting on the other shoulder, and they're both trying to talk to you at the same time. One is telling you do bad, the other one's telling you to do good, and the one that you listen to, that's what's going to end up manifesting, because you are the sum total of everything that you try to manifest, or you don't manifest, or you do manifest. Which is why that I can go out there and say, look, you can manifest evil if you want to. You can manifest good if you want to. The only thing is that you don't, because of Aman or Amen, Ra, the unknown, the unknown nature of the universe, you don't know what's going to happen as the result of what you do, because there's going to be something that's going to happen, because it's the universal law of action. Every action has another action, or reverse or opposite reaction, or a better or worse action, because of whatever you do. So these people understand that. So they understand that. So that's why I'm going to go over a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm going over a little bit. But that's why these people have been, the white supremacists, and that's why they have rituals. KKK is ritual. They put on hoods. They put on hoods and costumes and everything. And what do? They go and kill people, sacrifice. The Bible, it talks about what? The Bible is constantly talking about how to please God through sacrifice. Pretty much the whole entire Old Testament is talking about how to please God through sacrifice. Even Jesus is a sacrifice. They sacrificed Jesus because they knew what? He wasn't guilty. Think about what's in the scriptures. It was a human sacrifice. Cursed is every man that hangs on a tree. The beast, 666, all of these things that they put upon, those are things that make the indigenous people of the earth. Those are the things that they do to sacrifice. All these children, pedophilia, look in the Catholic Church. All the pedophiles, those are sacrifices. That's why they kidnap. That's why you find all these kids being kidnapped and killed and all of that kind of stuff. Is evil. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to manifest evil. They for money a lot of times. You know, all the Jeffrey Epsteins and even, you know, it seems like, you know, Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and a lot of these other and Donald Trump. It seems like a lot of them are mixed up and involved in this stuff. That's how come these people that's why we have little children and we have women coming up missing and dead. And then during slavery, lynchings, picnics, all of those things were rituals. They were ritual sacrifices. We still have it going right now. When I talk to y'all about the news cycle and you see all these black men and women being murdered at the hands of the police. You know, Ahmaud Arbery, he was a ritual sacrifice. That's what he was. They just went out and then they tried to cover it up. That's a ritual sacrifice. All of the, you know, and the reason why that they can do this to certain people is because they don't look at you as being human, when the reverse is actually true. They're the ones that are not human. Whoa. So when people say this stuff, they're like, oh no, that's not true. But it's been going on. It's been the manifestation of it is there. That's why they ended up with all the money, with all of the land, with everything. Because why? Because they were willing to kill for it and sacrifice for it. Just like they at every step of the way, and then they flip. That's why I talked about media and all of this kind of stuff, because then all they do is they flip the narrative. They make the black man especially look evil, you know, and they show all of this stuff. Like they show everything that a black man does or whatever, and they put him on there and make him look evil. Right? But what about all the lynchings? What about all of the beatings and everything that they've done over history that there's never been, you know, they're infinitely as evil. And look, and even with this whole thing, that's how come I didn't really join in with the whole China thing, is because Chinese are peaceful people. They've always have been. In fact, when gunpowder was discovered, it is estimated that the Chinese had gunpowder for thousands of years. And you know what they did with it? They made fireworks. Set up fireworks. They never shot anybody. They never tried to kill anybody. It was not until the Caucasian got a hold of that they decided to make weapons and kill people. It's spiritual warfare. And so getting back to the whole thing where, you know, so in order for me to manifest something, so I offer up something to the ancestors. And that's what they did. They're offering stuff up to their ancestors to fight in the spiritual realm. And I know it seems far-fetched and whatever, but guess what? And just like we post, is like, don't be afraid of the spiritual world, because eventually you're going there. That's where everybody's going to end up there. Everything starts there and everything ends there. It's just a fact. All of the people, and think about all of the people that have been born, lived, and died. And the reason why we can sit up there and people get mad when you tell them that the black woman is God. It's like you say the black woman is God, but it's true. Because she's the old, nobody can find anything. And then they did all the genotype testing and everything. And she's the only being that has everything intact inside of her that can make every other human being. Only her. Nobody else. And she's the conduit between the spiritual world and this world, this realm. So you're coming through her in order to get to this realm. And I mean, that's all women. But I'm just saying. So, and men changed it around into a patriarchal society. But the Most High never intended that. You can tell, because it's nature. It's natural. That's how come evil people try to dispel science. See, because science is equal to everybody. But if I have everybody equal, and I don't, it's like a big Willie Lynch deal. I keep everybody pitted against. That's why I tell everybody to love everybody, because when I pit people against people, all that creates is war. It creates evil. That's all it does. It's not gonna, okay, just like okay, and that's how you can tell like somebody like Donald Trump is evil. Why? Because he pits people against each other. The Mexicans are coming over here. Oh, we can't have the Nigerians over here. Oh, Puerto Ricans are not Americans. Women, grab them by the, Think about it. That's what they do. So they pit groups against one another in order, because racism is ridiculous. We fight against it only because of the fact that people, try to impose it upon us. That's the only reason why I talk about racism all the time, or even because it really doesn't make that much sense. It really doesn't. Because that's what rich people use to pit poor people against each other. So that's what Trump did. That's all Trump did. Trump got all the rednecks and the hillbillies together and said, we hate the Mexicans. And they say, yeah, we hate the Mexicans. Because they're not thinking. Why you hate Mexicans? What the Mexicans doing to you? What they do to you? Nothing. Y'all want to sit in West Virginia and drink beer? They want to sit in Tijuana and drink beer. And we want to sit in the hood and drink beer. See what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. They're taking your jobs. Really? It's like, I see there's help wanted signs everywhere. Even now, even during coronavirus. So, but it's all the perception of what I get you to believe, or what, me and one of my friends, and I always think about him every time I think about stuff like that, because it's like, we used to walk around and we used to say, it's like, really, everything is what your mind is willing to believe. What is your mind willing to believe? And that's how come you can, like when people say, how could they do that? Or how could they think that? Or whatever. Because people allow themselves to think crazy stuff. That's really, and to manifest crazy stuff, which in all reality, in their reality is real. But in our reality, it actually has no bearing on anything. It has no bearing on the universe. It has no bearing on anything. Like people when they people who kill their kids or their family and stuff like that. That's ridiculous. Why? If you don't want them, just let them go. Why you got? I never understood that. It's like, the whole murder suicide thing is ridiculous to me. Oh, because I feel messed up, I'm just gonna mess everybody else up, and then I'm gonna mess me up too. It's like, think about it. But it's you have to go into that mindset, and that's spiritual. That's spiritual warfare. Every psychosis, everything in psychology, everything in your mind is all spiritual. And that's why, even some of the stuff that they say, like, oh, you're, yeah, that's why words are so powerful. Words are really powerful. That's why I never, it's like I don't try to put no words on none of my children or nothing like that. It's like, hey, they ain't perfect. In fact, a lot of them is horrible. But I'm just like, hey, but that it is what it is, because eventually, once they reach that age of accountability, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. Everybody is. Because once again, there's a universal law of what? Of grace. That's why I preach those universal laws and not the Bible or not the Quran or not the Vedas or not anything, because the bottom line is everybody is equal in the universe. The only way people become superior in the universe is by manipulation and manifestation. That's the only way. So if you manipulate and manifest your way, that's basically what people do. And that's basically what the whole thing, it's like, okay, I need to manipulate. So that's what sacrifice is all about. So and then it incites fear in everybody else. So like right now, that's what they're doing. Okay, we kill a black man, we kill, Ahmaud Arbery, we kill him, we show it to everybody, and then it makes you feel a certain way. That's spiritual warfare. That's all it is. Because it's changing your mind. It's changing what you believe. Saying, Sandra Bland, we can name, Trayvon Martin. It's spiritual. And then they figure out ways to let, then the people do it and they get away with it. Why? Universal law of grace. Grace ain't Jesus. Grace is a universal law. Unless somebody catches you and unless somebody does something to you in this earth realm, you get away with everything, until the unseen, unknown Amun-Ra gets you. Anyway, I done went way over. But all of these things are spiritual warfare sacrifices. All of these things. So when people ask, oh, how come they got all the money and why do they get on and how come they getting away with this, that, and the other thing? It's the universal law of grace. That's why they don't fear doing nothing to you. They don't fear doing nothing to you. Why should they? There, really, realistically, there are, until you see your maker, the tie, Amun-Ra, the unseen nature of man. That's or karma. Those are the only two forces that you have against you. And some people karma never catch up with them. I mean, it's just true. I mean, look at you see these what do you call it? People that kill people during the civil rights movement and all that kind of stuff, and then like right before they die on their deathbed, yes, I lied on all those black men, and the lady that told on Emmett Till, she lived her whole entire life, nothing happened to her. Anyway. Fastest 15 minutes turned into a fast 30. Be aware. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your eyes open. Because one thing I can say, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said, look, these some devil. I mean, I'm just saying. All right, anyway, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons for me. My name is Judson Powell. Fastest 15 minutes was fast 30, and I love you all. I love y'all. That's why I do this. I don't do this, I'm not trying to do nothing. I'm just loving on y'all. Anyway, love you.